Okay, let's get right into this. Welcome to this explainer, where we take some truly fascinating concepts, break them down, and really figure out what makes them tick. Today, we're diving into a profound philosophical framework all about our role in society. It's called Citizen Awake, and let me tell you, it asks us to completely reevaluate the order in which we prioritize our personal lives and our national goals.
Citizen duty is well placed before rights. I want you to just take a second and really reflect on your gut reaction to that statement. In our modern world, we're constantly, and understandably, focused on what we're owed. So prioritizing responsibility and duty over our own entitlements, that is a massive countercultural hook. It literally challenges the very foundation of how a lot of us view our relationship with the state.
So let's meet Oluyomi Ola-David, the author behind The Awakening. The mind behind this entire body of work is Oluyomi Ola-David. She is a Nigerian thinker who is deeply, deeply concerned with global development and transformation. When you look at her work, which covers everything from technical insights to policy briefs to these deep philosophical contemplations, you quickly realize she isn't just theorizing in a vacuum. She is highly focused on influencing actual strategy and generating real-world solutions for a better society. And this quote brilliantly illustrates her core foundation. She states, "I am a Nigerian and I love people." But she goes further, explaining that her deep faith is her driving engine, describing her Father God as the wheel within my wheels. This is absolutely vital context. Her entire mission to provide clarity for global transformation is driven by this profound love for humanity and a deeply rooted spiritual conviction. Ultimately, she just wants to see citizens thrive.
Let's look at the citizen mindset, redefining individual priorities.
Take the concept of work, for example. She places the internal mindset before the external work. Basically, she believes that how a citizen thinks must fundamentally precede what they actually produce. You can have all the labor and economic output in the world, but if the foundational mindset isn't awake and correctly oriented, well, the work ultimately loses its value and its direction.
Or consider this one, citizen faith placed before fads. We live in this hyper-connected era where opinions shift by the hour, right? But her stance is crystal clear. Anchoring yourself in an enduring faith, whatever your core and movable belief system is far more critical than getting swept up in fleeting cultural fads. Faith grounds you. Fads just distract you.
And here we are, back at our opening hook. Citizen duty is well placed before rights. So why exactly does she argue this? Because she views rights as the harvest, but duty as the planting of the seed. She suggests that actively fulfilling our civic responsibilities, our duty to each other and our community, is the essential groundwork required before we can ever meaningfully demand our rights. It's all about taking ownership first. Now, this next comparison is deeply challenging. Citizen welcome is well placed before well-being. Think about what that actually means on a personal level. She unpacks how extending hospitality and a welcome to others should actually be prioritized above securing our own isolated personal well-being. This is a direct, actionable reflection of her stated love for people. It's asking us to be community-focused, not just self-focused.
Moving on to truth versus illusion, navigating information.
Citizen history is well placed before propaganda. A firm grasp of true, unvarnished history is basically the only reliable shield we have. She stresses this point because, frankly, if you don't know your history, your mind is completely defenseless against the illusions and manipulations of modern propaganda. True history is what roots us in reality. Next, a call for buy-in, the prerequisite for leadership.
Okay, this is a truly fascinating dynamic. Citizen buy-in is well placed before leadership. We complain about bad leaders all the time, don't we? But her compelling concept here argues that a citizen's active buy-in, their engaged participation and consent, is actually required before effective leadership can even take root. I mean, leaders cannot lead a populace that hasn't first decided to actively participate in the journey. So to summarize her vision for the individual, the awakened citizen is defined by mindset, faith, duty, welcome, history, and buy-in. She's painted this picture of a citizen who is anchored entirely by internal conviction, responsibility, and truth, rather than someone defined by external demands, fleeting trends, or passive entitlements. All right, let's scale this up to the foundations of a nation, scaling the philosophy. When building a nation, she argues that the national household is well placed before society. She's contrasting the intimate, immediate household against the much broader, more abstract concept of society. By doing this, she prioritizes the foundational family unit, that micro-community, as the ultimate bedrock.
Think of it like this. If the household is broken, the broader society simply cannot hold together.
Furthermore, she says national identity is well placed before culture. Now, obviously, culture is beautiful and diverse, but her idea here is that a cohesive, overarching national identity has to be firmly established first. Before a nation can safely celebrate its broader or divergent cultures, it absolutely needs a unifying identity that binds everyone together under one common roof.
And when it comes to defense, national border is well placed before security. This one is as much philosophical as it is physical. Her stance is that you must clearly define what your actual borders are, whether we're talking physical boundaries or ideological limits, before you can even attempt to enforce security. Simply put, you cannot protect what you haven't clearly defined.
Economically, she uses that exact same inside-out logic. National industry is well placed before export. It's so tempting for developing nations to focus entirely on what they can sell to the world. But she points out how crucial it is to prioritize building a robust, self-sustaining internal industry first. You have to be able to provide for yourself before you focus outward on exporting.
And right here we see her faith and worldview shine through again. National gratitude is well placed before development. This is such a uniquely profound perspective. She's suggesting that collective gratitude for what a nation already has must precede actual material development. If a nation is bitter and ungrateful, mere economic development won't save its soul. Attitude precedes altitude, for sure.
Which leads us to awakening the future, the ultimate goal.
This next point is absolutely crucial. National purpose is well placed before unity. We hear calls for unity all the time in politics, right? But she argues, brilliantly I might add, that unity just for the sake of unity is completely empty. A nation must have a shared, defined purpose, a reason to exist, before it can ever achieve true lasting unity. Purpose is the magnet that pulls all the unified pieces together.
So, recapping these national priorities we have: household, identity, border, industry, gratitude, and purpose. Notice the pattern here? Just like she did with the individual, her framework builds a strong nation entirely from the inside out. True national strength isn't about looking good on the global stage, it's about doing the hard, foundational work at home first.
Which brings us to the end of our explainer today, and leaves us with one incredibly vital question. Is your citizen mindset truly awake? Oluyomi Oladevid's framework isn't just theory, it's a mirror. It asks us to look at our daily priorities. Are we chasing fads or holding to faith? Are we just demanding rights or are we actively fulfilling our duty? I really urge you to apply this framework to your own civic life today. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning and I'll catch you next time.